This, I feel, is like a video that everyone's waited for, but it's probably just me waiting for it, so I'm gonna get into it because either by the thumbnail or the title you know what's going on. I feel like the US and the UK are constantly in a battle of who is better, and the US are like, oh my god, like they'd never survive in heat, and then the UK are like, you shoot everyone. And it's just this constant back and forth of like, who would survive what? And I'm here to settle this fucking battle, okay? And I'm not gonna be biased. Here's how I'm not gonna be biased. Let's state some facts. First of all, most of what I'm about to say is based on primarily London and LA, so not the entirety of each country. Two, I love both. I went there because I have family there, so I literally consider LA my second home. Everyone knows me for considering LA my second home, so I'm not being biased here because I love both. London is my home and LA is my second home. So with that context, let's see who wins. I think we all know who it's gonna be, but anyways. First things first. Oh, let's position this a bit better. First things first, the thing that stood out to me the most about the US is their food quality is fucking awful. Like, I quite literally shat myself 2 times because my stomach was like, what is this? What are you putting inside of your stomach? It's not nice. Obviously there's like a fucking reason for this. It's because the US is so big that fresh food is hard to get to every single state, and so that's partially why their food quality is so bad. On top of that, the US does have a bit of an obsession with processed food, which is ironic, and I'll get to why later. But so everything tastes processed, everything tastes the same. The food quality in itself is so shit. And when I came back after my flight, the next morning I had noodles for breakfast because my stomach was like, I can't eat normal food right now. By normal I mean like that was like a packet of noodles, and like my usual normal is like a nice healthy meal with fresh food, and you know what I'm talking about, you get it. So that was the first thing I noticed. The next thing I noticed, and don't ask me why I've put this on the list, but it's a real thing, okay? It is. Their toilets are built weird in the US. Like, something about the trajectory of where my butt sits on their toilets is like strange. I feel like the British toilets are far more upright, but I don't know if that's just me. However, that's a negative because it makes your piss go everywhere. But however, their flushes are amazing. Don't ask like why I know this. I mean, obviously it's obvious why I fucking know this because I used it, but oh my god, girls poop, no way. But their flush is just magical. It's a powerful flush, I'll tell you that, it really is. One really big positive thing about the US that I wish I could transfer from there to here is around the city and in general where I was, they play you so much like varied music, and a lot of the time it was rock, like proper rock, like literally Ozzy Osbourne type bullshit, okay? And I literally Shazammed so many songs there because I was like, oh, I love this song, oh, what's this, loads of 80s, obviously, a lot of Mexican music, like loads, just like a really nice variation of music they played. Most of the time just legendary songs I was singing along to like all the time. Over here all you fucking get is Ed Sheeran and Do Peep, and it's just like, I fucking hate pop music. I physically, like, there's good pop music and there's bad pop music, and the UK plays all the bad pop music. I'll give you an example of good pop music. Ariana Grande, her last album, amazing, brilliant, could have every song on repeat. Sorry to the Dua, I've forgotten her name because I keep calling her Dula Peep. To the Dua Lipa fans, that's her name, right? Sorry to offend your fave, but that music, I would rather kill myself. Literally, Becky Hill, I can't stand it. Sorry, I'm so sorry. It's just not my cup of tea, and I hate that the UK doesn't play that shit, because we have such a solid rock foundation in this country. We have such history with great, like, fantastic music, and everyone plays that, and it's just like Anyways, something that was astounding to me, which is not an observation that I thought I would make about the US, is there is a very, very, very big lack of diversity in the US compared to the UK. Like, obviously it's dominated by white people, as it is here though. And LA, of all places, I would expect to have more diversity, but it wasn't just diversity as in race or age or whatever. There was a lack of different kinds of people. Everyone wore the same thing, had the same style, had the same fucking dog, did the same shit, went the same places, and it's like, oh my god, it's so scary. I got stared at so much because I was wearing, like, stuff that is my style, and, like, British people would look at my style and be like, that's tame. That's tame. For a British person, that's tame. Like, in London, the centre of creativity, apparently, that's tame. Compared to a New Yorker, I assume, from, like, my extensive knowledge, that's tame. But in LA, they were, like, giving me the evils, and I was like, okay, not my fault, I'm gorgeous. This is another thing that fucking shook the shit out of me, okay? Starbucks in the US is awful. It's so bad. Their coffee tastes like shit. Like, their Starbucks specifically tastes like shit. Like, pure crap. And I was so shook. And also, every Starbucks there that we went to had no seats. Like, it was just come in and out, or like they had like a window in glass, and they would just like do your orders through like a fucking drive-through, but you walk there, and it was just like so fucking businessy. Like, you could tell it was a business. Starbucks is a business in the US. Over here, it's a fucking coffee shop. I expected that to be the same everywhere else, but I don't know why. However, on the flip side of that, which is something that I agree with about London too, but I was pleasantly surprised with over there, is their local indie coffee shops are amazing. So good. I think, like, my favourites were Lily's on Laurel Canyon, Jones on 3rd was great. Coffee Bean in the US is super popular, and like everywhere it's a chain, and their Starbucks and their coffee was so good, so good. So like the smaller, like more indie local shops for coffee were amazing. Roads and drivers in the US are fucking nuts, crackers, blind as bats, dumb as fuck. Why are you beeping at nothing? Why are you beeping at the air? I swear, it's just like every 5 seconds, and it's like, what do you want? Are you that attention seeking? Go to therapy. Seriously. And their roads in general are just so scary because they're so large and they have loads of intersections, and like the pavements are really small in comparison, and like I almost got run over a million times. The thing about London is I can jaywalk. You can't jaywalk over there, and I'll risk my life over here. However, over there I don't want to risk my life because I trust drivers here. They see me, they're gonna stop. People over there, I'm not so sure. So this one is kind of funny. So me and my best friend who went with me, we watched Shark Tank, obsessed with it. It's way better than Dragon's Den. It's the same show, but our version is called Dragon's Den. Shark Tank is so much better, but anyways. And there was this one girl in there who was just fucking ridiculous. Her product was stupid as shit. She made like mirrors that made you physically look slimmer, and we took the piss out of how bad that idea was, because it would obviously just cause a lot of issues for people, body image issues, etc. And it's just a pure blatant lie if it was like installed in stores and shit. It's manipulation. However, when we came back home, the mirrors here showed me like in depth the hairs I had not plucked, the spots that I didn't even think I had, the discoloration, the redness, everything was shown in that damn mirror. The mirrors back there, I didn't see any of that. And my best friend had the exact same experience. She was like, I didn't realize like my eyebrows, she had bleached her eyebrows, she's like, I didn't realize like the hair was growing out. Like in the mirrors over there it looked fine, and now I'm here and it's like so much darker. So something's up with the mirrors over there. So I think that girl actually has been doing some shit. Next is the ad warnings in the US. I get they have to do this, but it's fucking crazy. Literally, and I wish I was kidding, at the end of every single vitamin, food, drink, medicine advert, they have the advert, and then at the end there is a 1-minute segment where they're like, may cause death, and like they go into extreme depth about like the bad shit it could cause, like like there was an asthma one, and it was like a product that obviously is meant to help you relieve your asthma, and they were like, may cause more respiratory issues. And I'm just like, how is this real? How do you guys sit here and just, this is normal? I don't understand. I'm sorry, I really don't get it. Oh, that was another thing though. I don't think I wrote that down, but I should have. It reminded me. Their version of paracetamol is Tylenol, and their Tylenol, amazing. One, tastes like mint. At one point I was just licking a Tylenol because I was like, this is delicious. I was like, scrumptious. And then when I took it, it actually like physically I could feel it working, whereas with paracetamol takes fucking 4 hours, barely does shit, you know. So that was something else I forgot. Here's something that I wish someone had told me a very long time ago, but I think people did, or like I knew this and then I just didn't really pay attention to it. But LA and like the US in general really is just like anywhere else. That very few places are like amazing. They're like, where we stayed, where my family are, is just stunning, and you can't beat it. Seriously, it's just beautiful. But like one road across and it's Dangerville, you know, and it's like sketchy and everything's like derelict. And the thing is that is everywhere. I've been to France several times. That is France to a T. That is here sometimes. And so it's just important to keep in mind that if you're like hyping these places up, it's just like anywhere else. One thing about LA that I personally love is you really do see celebrities everywhere. Like everywhere. I think we saw 5 celebrities and we saw 2 of them twice. So we saw Finn Argus, who's an actor, he's in Queer as Folk. We saw Benny Blanco. Those were the ones we saw twice. Benny Blanco also had security with him. We saw the kid that plays, the guy that plays Brick from The Middle. We saw, it was someone really famous. I can't remember who it is now. there's someone else, I'll come back to it. And then we saw my favorite photographer ever, who is very like big online, Sarah Barber. Love that bitch. Got to talk to her and everything. I was so happy. I was like, that just doesn't happen here. Now this one specifically is about Vegas and not LA, but there is quite literally nothing to do in Vegas, and there's more to do in LA, but then also Vegas was hot. Like, there was loads of pros and cons about both. Like, it's great to go for a day, but I don't see why people stay for a week. We stayed for a few days, that was enough. And yeah, however, I would say there is a lot more diversity there. There's like loads of people wearing random shit, and it's just cool, you know. In comparison to the UK, I feel like locals and community is a bigger thing over there. Like Lily's cafe, where we would always go to, it was the same people over and over, just the same people. And in the same groups, in like little cliques, and it definitely has its pros, I guess. And like, I love when I'm here at home and, you know, I see my favorite bus driver, or like I go into the same stores in town and like they know me, and like that is still a thing here. But I think over there it's just they actually get together instead of just going into each other's like workplaces, like an actual let's see each other, which is sweet. The average retail working class person, whilst working like during their hours, are much nicer to customers or random people compared to here. Here they're very moody, they don't want to talk to you, they want nothing to do with you. Over there, the amount of people who are like, hi, how are you, oh my god, like compliment, and it's just like, wow, whoa. Then on the flip side of that whole being nice and that compliment, like one girl even like screamed at me from her car saying that she loved my hair. I was like, what? Okay. On the flip side of that, judgment is very heavy over there. Like, you can tell, like I already touched on this, but like if you are outside of their norm, they're like, and it's like, you know, everything there is 10 times more expensive. It's fucking nuts. Now listen, I'm not talking like the conversion rate, I'm fucking talking the tax and the fucking tips that you have to do. It's nuts. And it's not even like a 5% tip, it's like minimum is 15, and it's nuts. It's crazy. How do you, and like when I've watched so many American YouTubers that I love, and they're always talking about how they get a lot of takeout or something, and I'm like, now that I've experienced it, I'm like, how did you pay for that? It's so crazy. Everything is just nuts. It's insane. I can't deal with it. I would physically go into like recoil because it's just way too much. Okay, this was the flip side of what I was talking about processed foods. In their supermarkets, so their grocery stores, they don't have anything normal. Nothing is normal there. Nothing. Like, where are the snacks? Where are the sweets? Where are the drinks? It was all just like fucking vegan cheese and expensive flowers, and a woman was walking around with like peach ice cream samples and shit, and I was like, what's going on? Where is just, I just want some fucking like parsley, like it was I don't understand it. But anyways, this is something that I noticed as well that was super funny. In comparison to London, the US, like if people have dogs, every single dog is super groomed. Every single one. They all look like little fucking statues or some shit. Like, it's kind of crazy. I won't lie, it's kind of crazy. Oh, and that was another thing that I remembered, was like their dogs, their kids, like babies and toddlers, like are much more wary of strangers than they are over here. Like if you like smiled at a kid. Like, I love babies, so if I see a baby, I'm gonna smile at the baby, and the toddler will like side eye you, and you're like, okay. And now you'd think that'd be a judgment of me, because babies and stuff are meant to be super like aware of like what people... My camera cut, so we're gonna ignore the change in everything. However, let's continue, and I'm gonna go through the next, well, the last ones quickly, because I can't be fucked to sit here for another half hour. So one very good thing about the US is they have amazing thrifting opportunities. I think here, like, there was a time period where it was really good, and then it got really oversaturated, and now it's harder, but there are still a few good stores. But in the US, it's like every store is good, and like they even hold like big thrifting like events and markets, and that's where I found most of the stuff that I bought from there. So it was great being able to do that, because here I just don't get that opportunity. This is a double-edged sword in some way, but Americans are more likely to randomly speak to you. Everywhere we went, an American would speak to us. They just randomly start a conversation, or in a nicer way compliment you, which happened quite a bit when I was there. And I make it a habit to compliment people when I'm here, because it's not a very common thing. I always do it, and I love doing it. But at the same time, British people don't just start random conversations. Like, if you started to talk to me randomly in the street, I'd be like wary, because it's not a normal thing here. It's like, are you gonna kidnap me? Like, you know what I mean? It's just not it's not a thing here. Like, you'd get like the side eye. In fact, you'd get a bombastic side eye. But it is nice when it's compliments and stuff, so it really depends. This was something that was also really nice, was that like spirituality is super like widely accepted over there. Like, on every road there's a fucking psychic, and I love that, but I also don't know how authentic that is, because I don't have the experience of being over there and going to these places. Here you'll have a lot of crystal shops in Central, or like astrology shops here and there, super scattered around, not very like frequent. So I like that spirituality was like a widely accepted concept or idea or morality, but I don't know how authentic that is, so don't take my word for it. This was something else that I loved, was we went to a cafe called Tea at Shiloh, and well, it's not really a cafe. It is, but it isn't. It's like a tea shop, and they have like very few snacks, and what I liked about it was that you could sleep there. So I just had like an hour nap in this random tea shop. So I just think like that concept should be brought here. However, if it did, it wouldn't be trustworthy. So I don't know. Now this is a very strange observation, but hear me out. Getting catcalled here and getting catcalled there are two very different experiences. Here, men are very vulgar, like, alright, hot stuff, I wanna fact check, blah, 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 blah. And it's like disgusting, and you're just like, you know? Whereas over there, it's almost polite catcalling. It's very strange. It's like, hey mamas, have a great day, hot stuff, you're looking great in that outfit. And it's like I don't know if I should be offended, or like that this isn't a compliment, or like I'm clearly being hit on, but like, do you know what I mean? It's so confusing. It's so baffling, and I don't know how I feel about it. Definitely one of my least favourite things about America is that Americans have zero humour. None. Zero. None. the worst humour ever. Like, I literally wouldn't move there purely for this factor. I can't do it. I actually can't do it. I can't think of a singular funny American that I met. I met nice Americans, I met arsehole Americans, I met famous Americans. I didn't meet a single funny person. Whereas here, as a British person, we pride ourselves of our humour. We are a very funny country. We have great humour. And so, that's an important thing for me. I think over there, and I think that this is just LA and I wouldn't say the whole US, there's a better work-life balance than in London. I think London is very grind, which I'm part of, and I get it, and I think the majority of the world is probably like that. But over there they have like this thing in summer where Fridays are half days, and they actually take time off for certain days like Juneteenth and things like that, where it's like in respect, and work isn't the be all or end all. It's still very, very important, but there's more of a work-life balance in a sense, and I can appreciate that. I think that's a great thing, and I think we should have more of that. I think here it's still very Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, whereas over there it's very much like your hours can be anything, your days can be anything, and it's like that's cool to be around. It gives you a sense of freedom, and like you're less stressed because of it. This was a really stupid random one, but we have more cats than they do, and they also have bunnies. We saw lots of bunnies, and just like as casually as you would see cats here. And also I don't think I know obviously people obviously have cats there, obviously, I know that for a fact, but the cats here are so domesticated that they can just walk around, leave for a few days, come back, not really get worried about getting lost or hit or whatever. And over there I didn't see a single cat. I saw squirrels and lizards. So yeah, I don't know why I was making that observation, but I did. And I think the last thing to end it on is that in America it's very true that everything is for show. There's very little authenticity in comparison to London. I think that's what it boils down to, is that in London there's so much authenticity, but we have our faults obviously, but I think what I like about it is that we don't pretend like we don't have our faults. Like as a city, as individuals, we are aware of that, and I just think like in America there's this whole sense of I'm perfect, and like although you can see through that, they still want to put that little show on of I'm perfect, everything's perfect, and it's like you know. So I think that's what it boils down to. Honestly, this was more positive than I thought it was going to be, because like I thought it was going to be more negative about America, but it was actually pretty 50-50, so no one can hate on me for this shit. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. A lot of people wanted me to do this when they saw that I was in America for basically a month, so I had fun doing it, and if you want more videos like this, let me know. But I hope you have a great rest of your week or the next week. I love you so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!